Joining us from Florida is Dr. Robert Rabil, Distinguished Professor of Political Science at Florida Atlantic University. Welcome to In Focus, Dr. Rabil. Now, can Lebanon
Thank you for
realistically...
having me.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, sir. Can Lebanon realistically disarm Hezbollah by the U.S. deadline, or is Israel using this ultimatum to justify wider war?
Well, if you go back to the ceasefire that the Lebanese government signed on and Hezbollah signed on, Hezbollah should be disarmed. So the question is how to disarm Hezbollah, because he approved the ceasefire and Hezbollah was defeated. And the Lebanese government has a responsibility to disarm Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a non-state actor. Let's not forget that.
Yes.
And the state should have only one army. It's one state, one army. So here the problem is mainly, how to go about it, to have a process to disarm Hezbollah. Hezbollah has most likely, or broadly speaking, has disarmed south of the Litani River. Now, and this is where United States and Israel are talking about, especially United States speaking with the Lebanese government, is about disarming Hezbollah north of the Litani River.
So is the Lebanese army truly unwilling to act, or is it structurally maybe incapable of confronting Hezbollah without triggering civil collapse?
All right, this is a decision that I myself think that the Lebanese government has to take. Listen, I served in Lebanon in the Red Cross. And Lebanon today, I can look at it and I see you have a lot of corruption. Hezbollah really has penetrated the government deeply. And you have two choices for Lebanon and what the Lebanese would like to have in their future. Either a farm, really, or a decent government. In order to have a decent government, you should have one army and one state. And in order for that to happen, really, the Lebanese government should work toward a process with a timeline. This is the key question. Timeline to disarm Hezbollah. And I will add to that, it's not necessary you are going to confront Hezbollah. Why? Because Lebanon is a confessional country, and it's a multi-confessional country. You have the Druze, you have the Sunni, you have the Christian, and you have the Shia. Now, the Sunni and the Druze and the Christian, and I would say a good number of the Shia, they would like Hezbollah to disarm. And Hezbollah's future really is in the government, within the government, as part of the government, not only in a political way, but also in a military way. Yes. So this is how I see it myself.
With Hezbollah embedded in civilian homes, how can any disarmament succeed without turning southern Lebanon into a war zone?
No, listen, as I mentioned to you, I served for many years in the Red Cross in Lebanon. I was the chief of the emergency there during the civil war. It is the responsibility of the army and the Hezbollah. For example, you take the south, you have, you have the coordination between the two to remove the weapons. And I would say most of the weapons, probably not all, has been removed from the south of the Litani.
Yes, but would that involve civilian casualties, sir? Would that involve civilian casualties?
There was no casualty when Hezbollah cooperated with the Lebanese government to remove, weapons from south of the Litani River. And the Lebanese army has deployed in many places in the south of the Litani River. Now, regarding the homes, I think also it's the responsibility of both parties, but especially the Lebanese government. Once the Lebanese government, receives some information from the mechanism, or mainly the group, they are responsible to monitor the disarming of Hezbollah. If they receive information about a house that is mainly, it has Hezbollah weapons, I think the Lebanese army should go there.
Does Israel's assassination of Hezbollah's military chief signal the end of the ceasefire, or just the start of a new offensive?
It's not the end and it's not the start. Mainly Israel has been very clear, as a matter of fact. As long as Hezbollah is disarmed, as long as Hezbollah is armed, as long as Hezbollah is trying to rearm itself, and we see now today many reports, including intelligence report from United States, from Israel, including the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, the Institute of War, they all now, they speak about that Hezbollah indeed is arming itself or rearming itself. More so, as a matter of fact. If you look at the statement of Hezbollah leader, including Naim Qasim and others, they all now, they have taken the decision. They say, listen, we are not going to disarm. So in this respect, as a matter of fact, Israel will not cease attacking Hezbollah senior leaders or attacking Hezbollah's, where they have weapons.
Is Washington's $230 million aid package a genuine support for the Lebanese sovereignty or leverage to force Beirut into Israel's strategic agenda?
No, as a matter of fact, it's not leverage. And I'll tell you why. Because if it wasn't for the United States, Lebanon mainly cannot pay even the salary of the Lebanese armed forces. And the Lebanese armed forces, they rely mainly on American weapons. And I can tell you this also. That when President Trump signed off on sending the money, really, you had the shutdown. So even when you had the shutdown, the American government decided to send money mainly to the Lebanese government, especially for the Lebanese armed forces. And this has been ongoing. The United States has been the main supporter of the Lebanese armed forces.
And why does Israel reject diplomatic solutions while escalating strikes, even as Pope Leo calls for reconciliation in Beirut?
All right. Well, this question should go to the Israelis, but I can tell you my own view.
Yes. Please.
My own view is that the Israeli, as many Americans here believe that they cannot begin a process while the process of disarming Hezbollah has not begun or has not done or hasn't been done. This is what's happening. So mainly you go into negotiation while at the same time Hezbollah is armed. From the Israeli perspective and from the perspective of a good number of the Americans here, they believe really what's the use of going into a process where there is no end in sight? Really, if there is no process to disarm Hezbollah, why to begin the negotiation? You begin the negotiation.
You mean because there is no timeline set for the disarmament of Hezbollah here?
No,
right?
As a matter of fact, in the north of the Litani River, and this is the problem now, and this is what the presidential envoy, the deputy, the envoy is going, to Lebanon to speak about the timeline, because in the south of the Litani River, the American government, I would say it was fine with it. But north of the Litani River, you have a statement of course, by the president and the prime minister. Yes, we are still committed, to disarming Hezbollah. But there is no timeline. Now, there is no timeline, and you have all the reports that Hezbollah is rearming itself.
This is what I said. There is no timeline.
This is where you have the problem.
This is exactly what I said, because there is no timeline. Okay, if
Yes,
Hezbollah is
correct.
rearming through Syria, isn't the real target not just Lebanon, but Iran's entire regional deterrence network?
All right, when you speak about the Iran deterrence network, I don't know what you mean by that. I kind of find it...
The areas
really
that
don't know about
Iran...
that. Mainly, there is something called axis of resistance, which really, I think, it has been axis of disaster.
Yes.
Really. Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, Hamas, the Houthi, what they have done, these are non-state actors. They shouldn't have anything to do with the politics of the region. The
Just
politics
armed
should
groups.
be in the hand of government. Really. And the point is that Hezbollah has initiated that war and brought, disaster to Lebanon. Is something extremely, extremely terrible. So when we speak about deterrence, the deterrence is with the government of the regional country, not with what is called non-state actor, some of which are designated as terrorist organizations.
Yes, I get your point. So is the United States deadline a serious policy or a political tool to appease Netanyahu ahead of Ortika's visit?
No, as a matter of fact, you have the agreement. The agreement is clear that the Hezbollah has to be disarmed. But this is what I have to add. True, you have a deadline until the end of December, but mainly the American government and even Israel, I would argue myself, they are looking, okay, we can extend the deadline if we see a process, if we see a true process with a timeline. I think that, mainly I think that this, the ultimatum or the deadline will be extended.
Can Lebanon survive as a state if forced to choose between U.S. demands and Hezbollah's de facto control?
Or I can tell you this, Lebanon is not surviving even today. Lebanon is really is in a very terrible shape. It has to decide what kind of a country it has to be for now and for its future generation of people. Really, Lebanon, in any country, you cannot have non-state actors with weapons. You can't. It's abnormal. So really, Lebanon has to take steps.
Yes.
And mainly, if you listen to the president and the prime minister, they really, the way they speak is something, but mainly what they do is they don't match what they say. So really, for the future of Lebanon, as I mentioned to you, and I'm sorry to say it, because I lived in Lebanon and I served in Lebanon, and I'm of Lebanese descent, and I'm proud of my heritage. But listen, Lebanon cannot anymore be a farm. Corruption has to end, the system has to change, and Hezbollah cannot be armed. Only arms with the Lebanese government.
Does Israel's new Iron Beam laser system signal confidence in defense or preparation for an all-out war on two fronts?
All right, the laser, listen, Israel has the sling, the arrow, and the Iron Dome. And I think, they are doing this, and still it's unproven. And me, I am not that technical person, but I know that United States also has different projects, employing the laser. So first, it's not yet fully proven. And second, it is done to complement, the other spectrum of defense system. So I think we're going to wait to see. But if it is successful, it's going to really a strong deterrence for Israel.
Well, that was Dr. Rabil, Professor of Political Science at Florida Atlantic University. Thank you so much, Professor, for your valuable knowledge and your special insights.